Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to be posting this. So, hey, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the second live. It's live, even though you're probably watching a recording on this, just because of the way my schedule is working out. So, this is week two for the Social Selling Compass. And so, last week, I kind of gave you an overview and I talked about profile, gave you some tips about optimizing your profile, creating a value centric profile that doesn't talk all about you and how great you are, but talks about the value that you bring and resonates with the right people. So this week, we're going to go down to the east, right? So we're going to go that way and we're going to talk about your network and building. You not only need a quality network, but you also need a quantity in your network. So if I'm only connected to three people and they're my best friends, I have a really good quality network because I know them. But in terms of quality for what your network does for you on LinkedIn, I don't have a great reach, right? I don't have a big network of people because how many people do those three people know? So that's kind of the direction that we're going in here. And just to remind you, so today, as you're watching this is on network. Next week, we're going to be live and talk about content. And then the week after that, on the 3rd, wow, December already, we're going to talk about conversations. So let's talk about network. So as I mentioned, there's quality and there's quantity. So let me share just how kind of LinkedIn's network works from a kind of a high level. So anyone you're connected with is your first degree connection. And typically, as long as their profile is set up as a networker and they allow you to see their connections, which most people do, you can see who they're connected with. You can see their network. Those people that they're connected to that you aren't connected to are your second degree connections. And the rest of the people are basically third degree. I don't train, I don't know a lot of LinkedIn trainers who train a lot about third degree connections just because, you know, what you can see of their profile is so limited because it's how they've got it set up. But really, the second degree is really, first and second degree is really where the gravy is. And so, building a network of people that you're connected to or also connected to people you want to know is great because it gives you that kind of that inroad. Also, the size of your network affects your content. We're going to talk next week about content. And what many people do is they post and nothing happens, right? So their post goes out there into the LinkedIn universe and they may get some engagement, they may not, they're not sure, and what's the algorithm doing? And listen, the reason that your content goes out and doesn't go anywhere is because your network's not engaging with it. The way that the LinkedIn algorithm works is it goes out to about 10% of your network, right? So your followers and your connections, right? So look at your follower number. That's a higher number because anyone can follow you, but you have to approve people to be your connections. So for example, if your network is 1,000 people, it goes out to about 10%, so about 100 people. And when I say goes out to it, it appears on their news feed. You have no control, you have no direct control over who sees your content unless you tag them, right? So you mention them in it in some way or you send it to them. LinkedIn determines who in your network they're going to show your content to. And when I say show it to, it means it puts it on their news feed. Typically, that's people you've engaged with recently that you've either had new connections, that you've engaged in their content, you've sent direct messages to, or you've had a messaging conversation, or you've commented on their content. LinkedIn kind of says, okay, these people are interested in each other. So person A has posted a content, I'm going to show it to person B. Then those people who are shown that content have to then engage with it. They have to look at it. They have to stop and read it. They have to click the like button, the reaction button, or they have to type a comment. Comments work really well, or they decide to share it. If they share it with their thoughts, that does really well because what happens is then it goes out to more people. So when somebody comments on it, some people will see that they commented. And then LinkedIn goes, oh, this is causing people to kind of stop on the news feed more. We're going to show this to more people. People must be interested in this. This is sparking conversation. Let's show it to more people. And then it goes more. one of the key thing, well, that's for content. We'll talk about next week. So that's how why your network has an impact on your content. And so it's important to build a network of people who are interested in the same things that you're interested in, especially when you're using LinkedIn for sales. You know, adding people and building a network of people that are within your industry or the industry that you sell into is very important. Building a network of people who are interested in what you do, the problems that you solve, very, very important. And all that is important. And I'm sorry, I'm just turning off the notifications on my watch so you don't hear all the dings. Um, and that's very important because you want people to see your content and engage with it, right? So that's what it is. So let's talk about some ideas around and some best practices around connecting with people. So, we want to build a quality network, and that's what I was just talking about. You want people that are interested, not only interested in what you do and the product that you or service that you sell, but are willing to engage with you on it. Right? So who do you want to connect with? You want to connect with your current clients, excuse me. You want to connect with your current clients. You should, if you haven't done it yet, you should go through your customer list and you should find all of your contacts, all of your direct connections, all of the people that you deal with on a regular basis as clients, and you should add them to your network. That's a no-brainer. That's easy. And sometimes in a few industries we'll get people, well, I don't connect with my clients because I don't want my competition to see them. Listen, if a competitor can steal a client from you just because the two of you are connected with the same person on LinkedIn, there are bigger issues you need to deal with than just LinkedIn, right? You should be connected with your clients. You should connect with your vendors, the people who provide you with services, your networking partners. Who is it? Who are the last five people that gave you referrals? Are you connected with them on LinkedIn? Leaders within your industry, especially what I would call like magnets or thought leaders within your industry. You should reach out and you should connect with them. Prospects. Okay, so this is you know, this is who you should be connecting to, but you want to do this with a strategy, right? So what so often happens is people find you as a prospect on LinkedIn, or I'll say they'll find me as a prospect on LinkedIn, and they'll connect with me just for the reason that they want to sell to me. And while that may be okay, you know, I think I said it last week. Stephen uh, Jeffrey Gitomer says, no one wants to be sold, but everybody wants to buy, right? So we don't want to be sold to. And so we don't want to get on a call and be pitched stuff. We don't want people pitching us in our LinkedIn inbox. So don't do that, right? You have to connect with your prospects. And actually, you have to connect with everyone with some context, right? But you have to also understand how the LinkedIn um, invitation process works, right? You can just send a connection request that's blind, right? That you just click the connect button, and especially on mobile, but even on desktop, you can send it without a note. And what happens is they just get a generic connection that says that so and so wants to connect with them. Bill McCormick wants to connect with you. There's no context. There's nothing around that. Some people accept those without question. All right. And so that can be effective. That can work. In fact, if you talk to different LinkedIn trainers, some people say, oh, you should never send a note. Other people say you should always send a note. Listen, I think that if you're connecting with someone to network with them, to have a conversation, to build trust and credibility, you want to send a note. You want to tell them why you want to connect, and we'll talk about that. But LinkedIn started this thing about a year ago. They said it was to make this process better. I don't see how it does, but we'll leave that alone for now. If you have the basic or the free version of LinkedIn, so you don't pay for premium service at all, you're only allowed 5 personal invitations, right? So you can only send 5 connection requests with notes per month. So you have to figure out, I don't know how you'd figure out which ones you would and which ones you weren't. I guess you'd have to triage them, and I don't know. I don't have that problem. I have premium, which I can send an unlimited amount of connection requests with notes. Also, the notes with the basic and free are only 200 characters with spaces. You get 300 characters with spaces with any level of premium. I, you know, so who do you, so I would just send the first five you do of the month, I would send with a note, right? Because you always want to find some context. You want to connect with some context. And I'll end this time together with some ideas for you about some context, give you some ideas of how to connect and how to set that up. But you always want to connect with context, but always 100% of the time you want to have a follow-up strategy. All right, you want to have a strategy where when they accept, you come back and you thank them and give them an easy next step. An easy next step could be something as simple as asking them to follow your company page if they're not already. A lot of people with that follow up will go for the meeting right away. I don't. I like to warm that up. I like to ask them if they have any questions or if there's anything I can help them with. There's always a way to follow up. You want to do it gradually. This kind of takes a little bit more time. Maybe you want to talk to them about their point of view on something. And again, a lot of it is predicated on how you connected with them. What was the context of the connection request? So you really have to think this out. You have to have a strategy. But what often happens is people connect with other people and they forget about them. They've never had a conversation after that. Once you've connected with them, you're in their inbox. You should reach out and you should at least, at the very least, hey, thanks so much for accepting my connection request. Really appreciate you being a part of my network here on LinkedIn. And then hey, I see that you're involved in such and such industry. I'm really curious about that industry. Let me know if you have some time to get on the phone. I'd love to ask you three questions about that industry. You might even provide those three questions. You want to take it to a next step. So make sure you have a follow up strategy. So here are just a few examples of ones that I've gotten just in the past couple of weeks that where people, I think, kind of missed the boat, right? And I've kind of you know blur this out so you can't see the people. So it's, hello, Bill. So you've been using Superhuman and wanted to reach out. I don't know what Superhuman is. Have no clue what this person's talking about. My guess is they have Sales Navigator, and somehow I've ended up on some list that says that I'm using that technology. I don't know. I don't remember ever signing up for anything called Superhuman. I'm building, and this person tells me their company. We help companies run outbound at scale across LinkedIn, email, and RVM, whatever. I don't even know what RVM is. We recently got our Slack and all these things. Notice how much she's saying we and I would love some feedback on what? Open to connecting. And I messaged this person and said, what makes you think I'm using Superhuman? And I haven't heard a word back, right? Because they're like, oops, because, and this is the word, let me see if I got my, right? That's the word right there, scale. They're throwing up enough mud against the wall. They're hoping some sticks. They're doing these kind of bulk messaging, which first of all, probably violates LinkedIn's terms of use, but they're doing it. And she doesn't care that I don't use Superhuman. She's just looking for the people to say, hey, yeah, that's great. I would love to connect with you so that she can pitch. This is kind of, to me, a bit inauthentic because there's no attempt to qualify me. There's no attempt to any context at all. Well, actually, the context is that I've been using Superhuman, but I don't. So it misses the mark. Here's another one. Hi, Bill. I would love to connect with you and learn more about your business. Looking forward to expanding our networks. My LinkedIn profile is very filled out very robustly. Between my LinkedIn profile and my website, you can figure out more about my business, which then you can come to me with some questions that are more in context. Hey, Bill, I see that you help people leverage LinkedIn more effectively. I'm really interested in that and would like to have a conversation. Are you open to connecting? Well, yeah, sure I am, as long as you keep with that line of questioning. And then you can ask me, hey, so, and this is what I do. Let me know if that's of any interest to you. And I can say yes, or I can say no. This is very vague. You have to avoid being vague. When you personalize connection requests, you want to be hyper personal. You want to give them kind of a hyper context. And then the last one is, hi, Bill, I stumbled across your profile. I love that. It's almost like I left it laying around. Like, well, I tripped over your profile. You left it laying here. Man, I could sue you for that. I stumbled over your profile and thought your work was pretty awesome. Ah, that's great. I'm building connections with passionate experts. Fancy linking up. And I came back and asked what it was. Well, I stumbled across your profile and thought, what about my work did you find pretty awesome? And I sent the message to him. A little while after that, I saw this person viewed my profile, and then they came back with like a kind of a copy and paste from my profile. Well, that you're using LinkedIn for humans or whatever. And for me, this kind of last week we talked about having a headline that's kind of that really is bragging and making these wild claims. I had extra 5 to 6 figures in monthly revenue from your email list. Like, so that's what he's looking to do. And so I'd stay away from this guy. This kind of stuff to me is gimmicky. And I'm looking for people who want to really build a relationship. And so that's what my suggestion to you would be is look to really build relationships with people. Look to start building an authentic relationship while also providing meaningful value. So here's just some things that you can do in order to start warming it up in order to send some a connection request with some context. View their profile. They're going to get a notification that you looked at it. Really read it. Read their headline. Read their about. Look at their website. Read some of their content. And when you look at their content, authentically engage in it. Don't just give everything a thumbs up and then reach out to them. Look for something that is really meaty that you can say, wow, that's really interesting. I want to know more. Or that's really interesting. That's a great point of view. I'd like to know more. Right. Let's say they don't create content because only about 2% of LinkedIn users post once a week. So there's a good chance you're going to run into people who don't have content up. Look at their company's page, their company page, right? Their company they work for. Look at that LinkedIn page. What kind of content is there? Is there something there that sparks your interest that you could reach out? Hey, say I noticed your company page. You posted about XYZ. I'm really interested in that and want to know more. How do I find out? This gives you context. Um, Look at mutual connections. Who are your mutual connections? Who are they connected to that you're also connected to? And can you ask that? Do you know that mutual connection well enough to say, hey, Joe, I see you're connected with Sally over at XYZ company. Man, would you be able to make an introduction to me? I think we could really, there's really some benefit to us being connected. If that person says no, then okay, yeah, I don't know that person, or wow, I'd love to, but I'm really busy. Okay, great. Hey, can I reach out to them and say that you and I can talk and you thought it'd be a good idea for us to connect, right? So that's a name dropping thing. You can do that. You know, go through that. Don't just say, hey, Sally, I see we have some mutual connections in common. People do that to me all the time. And I didn't find one to put as an example, but it happens all the time. And sometimes they'll say mutual connections, plural, and we have one person in common, and I don't know that person. And I'll go back and say, we have one connection in common. I don't know that person that well. Why is it? And I'll be honest, when I'm replying to connection requests, if they haven't sent me a note, I have the same message I send every single time, right? I have it saved. It says thank, and maybe if you've connected with me and didn't send a note, you got this reply. Hey, thanks for the invite to connect. Typically, I only connect with people I've either had engagement with here on LinkedIn or have met in person. Can I ask you what it was about my profile that triggered the connection request, right? I'm looking for some context, right? And I let them tell me. And I'll be honest, out of every 10 that I send that to, 5 don't reply because they don't know. They don't know why they want to connect with me, or they can't put the context into words because they want to sell to me. Out of the other 5, about 2.5, on average, 2 to 3 reply back and try to sell me. Oh, well, we help companies just like yours, and I delete them. The other 2 to 3, right? The other 2.5 come back. Oh, I saw you at this. I saw you on this podcast, or I just watched a YouTube video of an interview with you, and it was great. And they have a context, and I add them. Great. And I don't say, hey, why didn't you send me a note or anything? Because I don't. That's for later. Later on, I can talk to them about the benefits of doing that. But if they give me a reply and they give me some context, I'm happy to say, hey, that's great. Welcome to my network. This is nice. LinkedIn's my superpower. You have questions about that, let me know. I'm happy to help, right? That's what you want to do. If you've looked through their whole profile, you can't find a context to connect. Click the follow button, right? So their blue default button is either connect or follow. If it's connect, you just go over to the more button and click on that, the drop down, and it'll be connect or follow will be there, right? If it's blue, if the blue default is connect to the more button, the follow will be there. Once you click the follow button on the upper right hand corner of their profile, a bell will be there, and you can click on that bell, and you can be and you're triggering to either be not notified at all if they post content, notifying with their top content, or notifying on all content. I notify for all content, and then in your notifications, you'll get notified when they put content out, and you can go and engage with it, and then that will give you a reason to have some context. So these are just a few ideas, but as I'm getting ready to launch the Social Selling Compass video course, in the section on networking, I go into multiple different ways on how you can better engage with people in order to build a quality network that also is a network of quantity also. So don't forget, on December 10th, December 12th, December 19th, December 17th, and December 19th. I'm running the Making LinkedIn Sales Mastering LinkedIn Sales Without Being Antisocial webinar. Same webinar, just offering 4 different days and times. So the Tuesdays, the 10th and 17th, are at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And the Thursday, the 12th, and Thursday, the 19th are at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So wherever you are on the globe, you can make it to one of these. Also, if you register and sign up, you will get a recording, but all those that show up live are going to get a show up live bonus, and you'll get more information about that when you register. So you can either go to digisalesny.com/masterclass, or you can scan that QR code and it'll take you to the landing page. You can set up and you can register for that. And I hope to see you there. So listen, if you're watching this and you have some questions, just throw it in the comments. I'll be seeing that. Or you can email me, bill@allsellingisocial.com, and I'm happy to reach out and to answer your questions there. Great spending time with you here. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week, where we talk about content and how we can better leverage that. We'll see you again, and we'll see you then. Cheers.